Something been bugging you? Come on in. Let's go for a drive. All right, joining us today on What's Bugging You is Dr. Kathy Koch. I'm very excited to have you join me and Rosco for a drive today.
I think this is just the most creative thing ever.
Well, thanks for that.
I love it.
All right, there we go. Good boy, Rosco. Here is the question I have for you today, something that bugs me and actually bugs a lot of the students that I come in contact with when they are in this transitional period of life from being a kid in their parents' home to being an adult on their own. And there's typically a pressure put on students, and it comes in the forms of questions like, okay, so where are you going to go to school?
Right.
What kind of job are you going to have? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? Are you going to get married? Are you going to have kids? Like all of this, there's this expectation of just doing the next thing as if there is a set out program of the next thing. Like so they
true.
They end up like they feel on a hamster wheel, just going through the motions and just doing what's expected of them, and they're like, wait, I don't even know if I want to go to school. I don't know what I'm going to do for a career. There's too many choices, and
right.
they just find themselves anxious and not knowing what to do next. I thought maybe as a psychologist you could shed some light on this and maybe give some encouragement to the students that are finding themselves in this predicament.
I'd love to, Trip, because they need to be encouraged. I totally agree with you. First of all, let me say that the parents and grandparents and educators who are asking those questions are doing what they've always thought to do. Like
right.
It's worked in the old days, right? When we weren't as aware of how big the world was, and we weren't as a generation as multi-passionate, multi-able, and multi-concerned and multi-interested. And so,
we just didn't even have the access to the rest of the world, right? Just
exactly.
our little community and what was around us, and what was in the newspaper, maybe.
Yeah, we went to the college
newspaper.
our dad went to, and
Sure.
we became the career that we knew from someone in our church or family or neighborhood. And now our kids think the World Wide Web is accessible, and so
Sure.
They have massive ideas. And our students today are multi-talented, multi-able, multi-passionate, multi-interested. They don't know where to land. They want to be happy. They haven't experienced much of life yet. School is different from life, and so they're kind of panicked. They want to keep their options open about dating and marriage and relationships in general, and career and college and post-high school decision making. So I like questions better than college and career. First of all, Trip, the speed of change, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much that's changing so fast. I think you're aware of the Barna study that says that today's graduates will have most likely 7 careers.
Yeah.
Is that stunning?
Careers, not just jobs.
Not
but
jobs,
careers.
but different careers. And there might be related careers, like you might be a landscape architect and, run a, flower shop or whatever. But
that would have, for my grandparents, that would have, that was unheard of. No, never.
No, the proudest thing for our older generations was earning the watch at 35 years, right? And so today's young people, that's why, college and career it's just not a good way of measuring, have I been successful as a parent, educating my child and preparing him or her for the future? And also the dropout rate from college, 50% of the kids who don't go to college don't graduate after even 5 years. And that's also because they get bored quickly and they get, disinterested in this major and they want to go do something else and experience more of life.
Well, they want to make a difference in the world, don't they?
Yes.
Which is something that is incredible about this generation.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. So they think that sitting in a desk and learning more isn't necessarily what they want to do, which is why I love the question, what problems do you want to help solve? And what's really interesting, Trip, is the number of young men and women I know who didn't know college and career, but they knew the problem or problems that concerned them, and then in their answer, you might be able to discern, would a gap year be a good experience for them? Would being apprenticed by someone in that field be a good 3 to 6 months before maybe education in a kind of logical way? Would a trade school, a tech school be good, or would a 4-year college degree be absolutely necessary for them? And kids, when I ask that question of young adults, they light up and make eye contact with me because they find such hope in that. The other question that you can use to get to the same issue is, what people groups do you want to serve? Because don't you find that this younger generation is interested in people, right?
I have a deep love and care for people, and that ends up sometimes being a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
But this is a way we can capitalize on the blessing part of it. They care so deeply about people, and so how can I use who I am to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem might be hunger, and the people group would be the homeless, or the issue might be, the elderly who are left to die on their own, and no one seems to care anymore about them, even though they have so much to offer us if we would just listen. So that's a people group. And then what would the problem be? How do we serve them and keep them alive and give them respect at their end of life, right? I also like the questions, what breaks your heart and what brings you joy.
Those are good questions.
What breaks your heart? It's okay to get in touch with that. But I don't ever ask it without the joy question, because I don't want to leave people in a depressed state, right?
Right.
So what brings you joy? Is it the giggle of a baby? Is it salvation? Is it success? Is it obedience?
What an incredible direction to head in if they could see where those two things come together, huh?
I have told many students that if they can determine the intersection of the grief and the joy, some way they connect, I don't think anybody can stop them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's exciting, because we need them to operate in their passion.
Yeah.
Right? And the fifth question is really interesting too, Trip. And it's the question, how do you want to live your life? Or you could ask it, what matters to me? Does family matter? Then maybe I won't relocate. Does culture matter? Then maybe I want a big city that has a German fest and an Italian fest and a Greek festival and a variety of opportunities to get to know people outside of my perspective. What matters to you? Is it art? Is it recreation as we drive by? Pickleball. I do not understand that game. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It seems like these are actually questions that, and I've seen this happen, that students don't feel like they're being held back or, I don't want to use the word oppressed, but that they're being, pigeonholed into a particular kind of way of life. But these are actually questions that allow them to be free to explore who they are.
I love that.
It frees them up
It
to
frees
be able
them.
to move forward.
Frees them to operate with integrity. What do you care about? Because you know what? I know people who are going through the motions.
Yeah.
Trip, I've never had a job that I haven't loved. I can't imagine waking up and having to go to work in order to earn a check to pay the bills when it wasn't something that inspired me or got me, moving. Oh, it was so depressing. And there are plenty of those kinds of people willing to just go through the motions. I want people to find out, why did God make me for such a time as this, right? What's my Esther moment? And one of the things I say, and I mean this with a lot of my heart, part of me is really sad that young people to know that trafficking exists and that abortion exists and that there's hunger and homelessness. Like, part of me wishes they could just go play kickball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they know, because the World Wide Web makes it clear that there are issues in the world, or the bad news is across their screen every day. We get our text alerts and our email blasts, and so then step into that. Why was I created for now? And let your kids find that out by serving, volunteering, waiting.
Yes.
Who thought it was a good idea at age 18 to plan the future?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think that was
so
ever
true.
a good idea.
That's so true. And when students are released to really thrive and who God has made them to be, then they're actually more prepared to do hard things, and they see that the hard does not always equal bad.
I love that.
What we grow up kind of believing. But when you find out where you come alive, then, as you mentioned before, it's hard for anybody to stop you, and it's hard for people to stop these students who are so gifted and so passionate when those things come together. So I love it.
Yeah.
This was good.
Well, I hope it's helpful. And one of the things I've said to young people is, stand up for yourself. Again, please remember, if you're listening and you're young, your parents and your grandparents don't know what they don't know. They're asking the questions that worked for their generations. They don't mean to be, mean to you or disrespectful to you. But with respect, you can stand up for your multifaceted interests and say, whoa, I heard of some different questions, Dad. ask me the question, what problems do I want to help solve?
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation. That would be so cool.
So good. Thank you so much. Let us know where can we find out more about you, your organization, and even topics along this path.
Yeah, celebratekids.com would be our website. We have a couple of podcasts. People can find those on our website, or if they go to the podcast channel of their choice and look for Celebrate Kids, that would be great. These 5 questions are in my book I wrote, 5 to Thrive, in the purpose chapter, Why Am I Alive? How do I figure out why God gifted me the way that He did? So 5 to Thrive is the book, Celebrate Kids is the website, and I would love people to check us out.
All right. Well, you guys do that. Thank you, Dr. Kathy, so much for driving with me and Rosco today.
I have enjoyed it. It's
Good.
crazy cool.
Very good.